20 trucks of assorted food stuff to victims. Only God knows how many of those trucks will get to the desired destination. Motorists stranded in traffic as Kogi witnesses high volume of vehicular movement. Coming or going to Abuja, you go through Kogi. So we all those who are traveling for Salah need to do a proper check before they take off. There's also a story here that says that they've complained about conditions of the camp. Community volunteer Hussein Mohammed described as unsuitable for human habitation. There are no toilet facilities, and we don't have access to clean drinking water. People are getting sick. It's a sad story that we have here. Reacting to the allegation, the acting director general of Niger State Emergency Management Agency, NSEMA, Husseini Ibrahim, acknowledged the gaps in the relief operation. He talks about the challenges they are facing and efforts they're trying to do to overcome that. Then, of course, like Kofi said, the president has ordered the release of 2 billion and 20 trucks of assorted foodstuffs. Well, usually we know the way these things go. This usually provides an avenue for corruption because these monies are non-receipted. If you say you went there with 20 trucks, or nobody is going to be counting the trucks or checking the food one by one, quality and otherwise. So we are our own enemies at the end of the day. For the umpteenth time, we'll be calling on government to please punish people severely for lapses like this. And this kind of liability, unfortunately, the president will carry because the buck stops at his table. I wish President Tinubu would take time out and make an example, just one or two. But it's going to be business as usual. You will see what will happen to that 2 billion.
We're waiting for the headlines, right?
No, a snake will swallow it.
Headlines. Serap writes federal government asking for explanation of missing.
I'm surprised the guys at Serap are not fed up already.
So have you heard of Yusuf? I think his name, the former AFCC chairman, wrote a book, a tell-all on what do you call it, fuel subsidy. Something maybe you want to look at.
No, but fuel subsidy is a very messy thing. Half the people in government today had one or two, in fact, half the people who are touted as the VIPs and the personalities of today, go check them out. Your big boys, go check them out. Only a fool will believe some of the things that you see. And it's tough for any, not just President Tinubu, it's tough for any president to actually go after those who are involved in the first subsidy racket. Because the list of those who are not involved will be shorter than the list of those who are involved. And whether you like it or not, some of them are untouchable. That's the reality of life. They are so highly placed that I don't see any political government that can go after these people. And yet therein lies the problem. Because there's nothing wrong with the subsidy. Don't let anybody fool you about that. What is wrong is that it had been wrongly administered and became a center for fraud. It's one of the easiest ways by which a government can settle its own cronies and whatever. We know the name of the game. And unfortunately, like one lawyer said online, I've forgotten his name, because we can't punish 1,000 people or so. 250 million people are suffering. So when you hear subsidy, there's nothing wrong with having subsidy in a country where we have petroleum in excess.
Gas in excess.
There's nothing wrong with it. But it became a center for fraud, and it was structured in such a way that it was made available for the privileged to suck money from this country.
Here we are, and we'll see it when it comes out. You have a chance to say, I told you so, when this 2 billion naira becomes 2 billion naira saga. It's well. More from Vanguard, this time on page 10. Oba's Chiefs Law, a law review rather, will curb title abuse, land grabbing. Oba's Chiefs Law Review will curb title abuse, land grabbing.
I think I need to read the headline. It says, Obas, Chief's Law Review will curb title abuse and land grabbing. We'll come out here, yes. So what is all this about? The Lagos State government has said it has begun, thankfully, to a comprehensive review of the Oba and Chiefs Law of 2015 as part of efforts to restore the dignity of the traditional institutions and address rising concerns over misconduct, land grabbing, and the abuse of chieftaincy titles. I am glad this has come to the fore, because the Obaship and chieftaincy title area has been completely rubbish. Completely rubbish. It's not to paint all of them with one brush, but the way it is structured now is completely rubbish. And the Lagos State government has found the need to step in and try and see if that area can be sanitized. The report quotes Lawal Pedro, SAN, who is the Attorney General. He described the review as, I quote him, a deliberate move by the state government to modernize the law in line with current realities and good governance. Pedro lamented the erosion of respect for traditional institutions, blaming it on a combination of misconduct, the proliferation of unverified chieftaincy titles, and prolonged litigation over succession rights. He can say that again. What we have is a complete mess. You go to the social media, somebody shows up with a garb, with people surrounding him when he's about to sit down. You can see a whole lot of rubbish being done that some of us who are the older ones never grew up to see. I mean, when I was young, we saw Obas, we saw various Obas, we saw how they conducted themselves. What we have now, to a large extent, not in the case of all, is a complete variation from what traditional rulers should be. So I'm glad that the Lagos State government wants to bring some sanity into it. Of course, their involvement of some of them in these land grabbing issues. It's quite known to all. Meanwhile, we have a Land Use Act. Okay? And Mr. Pedro says that our royal fathers remain symbols of cultural continuity and community leadership. But today, with due respect, I don't know why sometimes you want to say something bad and first of all, with due respect, why don't you just go and say it? But today, with due respect, the institution is under threat from land grabbing, unlawful upgrades. Somebody who is a local ballet, he struts around like as if he's the Oba of all, So it says land grabbing, unlawful upgrades, and chieftaincy titles not rooted in the customs of communities. I got frustrated one time, and I'm a public commentator. We have what you call innuendos you can use to lay your protest. I gave myself a chieftaincy title, and nobody challenged me. I called myself the only Eric Moore of Eric Moore. To bring some humor to it, and to call people's attention to the nonsense that we have. Unfortunately, Mr. Pedro should know that it was his bosses, the politicians, who put us in this mess, mainly because they found these people useful during elections. But that's a story for another day. And I'm glad the Lagos State government sees the need for a review. And he goes on to say the law must evolve. Our Obas can help reduce crime by mediating disputes, gathering public feedback, and promoting community initiatives. He also emphasized the need to restore integrity to the process of conferring chieftaincy titles, warning that only persons of proven honor and community ties should be eligible. The question now is, who is going to determine persons of proven honor? Are they honorable themselves? Therein lies the dilemma. He concludes by saying this process is about partnership, not imposition. We want a law that preserves heritage while promoting justice, peace, and good governance. So I'm glad to hear this. I'm sure most good citizens will be glad to hear this, especially those who live in certain areas where, quote and unquote, the traditional rulers seem to have forced their influence on them. Maybe it's about time the Lagos state government also looks into the hordes of area boys that are in a manner employed by these people to wreak havoc on people, this Omonile, whatever it is. Maybe it's about time. The most important thing that I'd like Mr. Pedro to know, we thank him for this initiative, is that once you put the law in place, your next assignment should be to go out, grab one or two, and make an example of them. That is the problem we always have. We have enough laws in our books to guide so many things, but we won't go after them. The Inspector General has said, no more police escort. May I still some in traffic? Unfortunately, you can't identify them. They arrive in cars that are tinted, no number, and usually everybody can go buy a Hilux or whatever it is van and strut all over town and push everybody away. There was a time there was a law against sirens and loud horns. Nobody is enforcing that. You know. So I plead with the Attorney General, if they could liaise with the House of Assembly, let's have a public hearing. From the public hearing, let's have the laws, and then you need to look out for somebody to make an example of.
All right, so so just to add, you've heard what's going on in Ekpe. With the election of an Oba, or shall I say Olu of Ekpe, elect so 2 days ago, and then yesterday the local government chairman in Ekpe, I think she's a lady, cancelling or halting or suspending the monarch's installation. It's sort of on a keg of gunpowder as we speak in that part of.
Well, I don't have the details or of what it is, and so I cannot comment on something. And you will never have the details. That's the thing. You it's difficult for you to, unless you go out of your way to probe deeply. You will never have the details. You will never know who is behind what.
Two individuals are laying claim to the title now.
Oh yes, but that usually happens. Mr. Pedro also talked about the process always ending up in litigation.
Yes.
In recent times, I don't think any Oba has been appointed without somebody going to court to challenge, because it's no longer transparent. I mean, the emergence of the Alaafin of Oyo, what we are told, again, you see what we are told is that the governor was so frustrated, he bypassed the kingmakers and got a renowned Ifa priest to do the needful, and that produced the Alaafin. The process has been bastardized. And it's because, and these things, to be honest with you, the politicians are almost fully responsible for all this. You know, before you have one ballet, is giving 2 policemen to this one, that, and you buy vehicles for them. I don't know why that should happen. You buy SUVs, you buy expensive cars, you pay them. The traditional rulers ideally are supposed to be under the supervision of the local government. But with some of the traditional rulers we have, the local government chairman cannot even get near the palace, talk less of supervising the Obas.
Wow.
It's a complete breakdown. You find, I believe a traditional ruler is a custodian of the culture and religion of the people. He's tied into the culture. You have traditional rulers being appointed who don't believe in the religion, and yet they are appointed.
One of those laying claim to the Ekpe stool, he was dressed like a sultan.
I can't comment on that.
There was one that happened. He said he's one of these neighboring states. He commented, but
I don't want to.
It's just here. It's not far off.
I don't want to comment on anybody.
What the local government chairman said.
Sorry.
The local government chairman said 2 people are parading themselves as
yes, because you don't know where Kofi, you don't know where the 2 people gain their authority from. And I hope somebody is not going to use the local government chairman as a scapegoat.
I hope so.
So, but that's
all right. So we allow sleeping dogs life for now.
No, what you have to do, especially people exposed like us, is to take your eyes. You can't be involved in everything. You just take your eyes and focus more on the thing that is going to. For me, my focus is one, the thing that is going to put bread and butter on everybody's table, and two, how we are going to develop our youth.
Yes.
All other things, I leave it to other people. They can worry themselves over. As long as Anoba is not going to tell me to move out of my house, or he's not going to come and say he has put his foot on my wife. Well, I don't have any.
Yeah. Is this something you're not telling us?
I don't have any.
All right. Front page of today's Punch. And interestingly, Mr. Disu, you're not going with any of the stories that the two headlines that the Punch has space for, but rather you're going with the advertorial that's taking up almost the entire front page. And this is from it's titled "The Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Bartels CON, and the Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Maria Mahmood, on behalf of all residents of the FCT, welcome His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR to the commissioning of key renewed hope projects executed by the Federal Capital Territory Administration in commemoration of the second anniversary of the present administration. The 17-day commissioning of the projects is from June 10 to July 3, 2025.
The level of megalomania in the FCT leadership is mind-boggling. First of all, I know how much money the front page of some newspapers. When I was in 234 Next, director of marketing, we never gave a front page to advert. It's a personal decision. So it's big money that is being spent.
How much?
And what is the money? Well, I can't calculate that now. But what is the money being spent on? By the way, when you said how much, every penny counts. We don't want to see frivolous spending of our money. It is this same FCT minister that has a media briefing every month and spends time talking about himself. Who is picking up the bill? You think it's from his personal pocket? I doubt it. And so he's advertising here that there is a 17-day commissioner. Where we got the culture of this so-called commissioning of projects, I don't understand. When I was half living in the UK, every time I get back to town, there are changes everywhere. A new road is being tarred, a new station is being opened, there and there. You never get to hear people commissioning this. And it's a whole lot of time wasting and a lot of money down the drain. Every penny counts. Don't forget that apart from the value of the money you spend frivolously, you give an idea that there is money to be spent frivolously all the way down the line. For example, what is all this about 17-day commissioning from June 10 to July 3? So what are we talking about? We are talking about projects. Some ring road that was built, some had carriageway, some aerial road, and look at this one, arterial road. Look at this one. The one on day 5 is a flag off. I don't know when that got into a lingo. You have a flag off. By the way, there's somebody you go to Facebook. There's somebody who did a video story, and it's worth seeing, and you make up your mind. He is claiming, and he did a video report, that even the 30-kilometer road out of 700 that we're supposed to have launched, the road itself is not complete. It's not as if you can now start your car and go on that road for 30 kilometers. Yeah. Why are we like this? Yeah. Again, our politicians. Again, you are sending the wrong signals. This is a whole lot of waste of money. What is a flag off? You haven't even built anything. You are having a big ceremony. A flag off, a carriageway, collection road, CN2, Greater Abuja Water Supply Network. These are things that should be ongoing at all times and doesn't need this level of celebration. This is getting towards megalomania, and it's very unfortunate that we as a people sit back and absorb these things. These are one of the many reasons why food cannot be put on your table. and we look at it, we shrug our shoulders. This sends a wrong signal that there is a lot of money to be wasted. And I'm sure this advert is in most of the papers this morning. Heaven help us all. But so anyway, the FCT have said that they want to have, according to this advert here, 17-day commission. It almost moves you to tears. Honestly, it almost, because how do you want countries that you want to come? You want them to take you serious with all this? You do commissioning, you do flag off. They're just like a bunch of time wasters.
The principle behind some of these things is if you don't blow your horn, nobody will blow it for you.
People, I have an example, and I want somebody to contradict me. In the 8 years of Fashola, he hardly did things like this. People are not blind. People are not blind. You ask yourself, to what effect is all this to the common? The common man wants food in his belly and wants to walk. So if you say you are doing a flag off in Abuja, what has that got to do with somebody in Lagos?
It's your capital.
But when you present yourself as a government that's into frivolous spending, buying Escalade, buying jets, flying all over the place with entourage and so on and so forth, how do you want to encourage the average voter in the country to have confidence in you?
So you asked me, what has Abuja got to do with Lagos? Abuja is your federal capital.
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe. It was interesting you talk about flag off, sir. And even the way you demonstrated it, it's new to this part of the world. You have to flag off projects and all that. The next one is the editorial in today's The Punch. Interesting one you've chosen. Assets recovery. How far can Tinubu go? How far can Tinubu go?
Well, it's part of what I said about setting an example, and The Punch is worried, and they say so in the editorial. There will be no safe haven for corruption in Nigeria. Our government will take deliberate steps to strengthen anti-corruption institutions, enforce accountability, and ensure that justice is served no matter whose ox is God. Those were President Bola Tinubu's salient words at a summit organized by the Ministry of Justice on May 28th. The president should tell us now. Are we going to overlook, for example, the subsidy scandal? Are those who are involved in massive fraud, are they going to walk away quietly with their money? These are the kind of things that the Punch is asking. The Punch says, but how far is Tinubu willing to go? Will he be content with merely recovering looted funds, or will also ensure that the looters are brought to justice? Is this campaign targeted only at his perceived enemies, or will it truly be impartial, sparing no one? Tinubu must answer these pressing questions. Amongst Nigeria's political elites, the plundering of public assets has become an odious tradition, leaving the country ranked among the 6 most corrupt globally, according to Transparency International. Individuals who have never worked outside government circles acquire luxury vehicles, overseas mansions, million-dollar bank accounts, and so on and so forth. They give the example of Dipre Alamisia, who had £3.2 million in cash, and 4 London houses worth 10 million seized after his arrest by the UK police, not here. They also the Punch also mentions James Ibori, the Delta State counterpart, who acquired properties in the UK and brought a private jet. A British court imprisoned him in 2012 after he pleaded guilty to stealing $250 million. Okay? And the Punch says that no president has demonstrated sufficient will to combat corruption. They talked about how the then President Jonathan removed Sanusi Lamido when he alleged that the NNPC failed to remit $20 billion to the Treasury. Sambo Dasuki, the National Security Advisor at the time, was accused of diverting $2.1 billion meant for arms procurement to fight Boko Haram. And they say that corruption runs deep, but they're asking how far will President Tinubu be willing to go. I think we got to the end before that thing grabs us again.
Let me see.
It's 7:58.
I think before that thing grabs
Yes,
us.
it stopped in the middle of a sentence.
No, it won't grab us. Mr. Disu, I think we're good. I don't think we have those ads.
We don't.
We don't have them today. I can't see them here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So just go over your tidbits before we're done. Tidbits.
Okay. This is like a race. It's 7:59. Okay, let's go straight to Lagos 60 stakeholder support to curb pipeline vandalism. Lagos State government unveils teaching hub and targets smart education. There's also two or three adverts here. Sir Remi Omotosho, who died in 2020. It's 5 years that he died. Sir Remi Omotosho was one of my bosses in Lever Brothers way back in the 80s. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
Nigerian teenager backed 6 years jail in UK for manslaughter. And another story, traders lament low patronage as RAM prices soars by 55.5%. I think that's all we can take before we have stopped abruptly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But those things are not here, so we will have to look at why they're not here today.
So,
But Mr. Disu, it's been a pleasure having this with you. Yes, indeed. The way you said flag off.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't think the political terrain that we have now will save us from this kind of frivolous spending. Something has to give in this country. We definitely can't go on like that.
All right. Let's see if the president will indeed be.
When you look at what is going on now in African countries with young leaders, you worry for our country. For how long are we going to be doing this? Well, let me go, Kofi.
All right. We'll be back. You'll be back at 9.
God willing, yes.
All right. Up next in news at 8, right here on 99.3 Nigeria for the morning. Crossfire continues.
Round the clock will bring the
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.